This world will know pain. Found this cool fan art of pain on Pinterest, I think, not signed. So shout out to whoever did this. Very simple, but like simple in the style. It's a complicated pose because we got a big hand out here, but it's cool. So we're going to give it a go. I love this character. So I guess nose, right? It's just to get sort of the head position because it's kind of tilted, right? So we'll go down. Up, so it's a different type of nose than we usually draw. Okay, it's kind of like that hook, and that's sort of the angle of his head. So then we go curving this way, like that, right? So his head is like tilted way forward and he's looking up at us, right? So his eye is in this section here. And of course the Rinnegan and all that's in there. So his pupil, then we're going to go an extreme up look. So like looking up from there. And then we got to try and do those circles around, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. You're kind of drawing a bullseye. Okay, so his other eye is over here, right? And it's underneath his headband. And the headband kind of follows the eye sort of curving around here. So it's like this eye is underneath it as well. So it like goes, see the headband like here. So we'll go just across here like a curve. And it may help just getting everything sort of in the right sort of place. You got that curved line touching that top eyelid. So his other eye touches it as well, right? So it's just over here. It's about the width of this eye over, you know, or like, you know, between here and here. It's about the width of this one. So this space and this space are about the same width. So then, just if you're wondering, so this like touches the headband line, and then comes down like so. A little spike. And then we'll go down around like that maybe. It's a little bit different in the picture, but that's kind of usually the way Naruto eyes go. So again, we want him to be looking up sort of to the left, right? So I'm going to do it again, sort of here. Very, very upward looking. Pupil, and then we will attempt to get our bullseye Rinnegan in. Just lightly. Coming down. So this side will be about here maybe. Probably disappears just into the corner of his eye. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Might be a little suggestion of a nose line there. So he's got those bars that go through his face, right? So you've got like 3 of them on this side. So we'll go, they're drawn real. 1, 2. Where's the third? Up here, I think. 3. And they could have just a little bit that just shows it's going into his nose, right? So a little like cylinder sort of shape. And then we want them to sort of come out the other side like a tiny bit on the bridge of his nose. You could probably, we'll do the third maybe. I'll just darken up his eye there. I'm gonna make his eye a bit spikier at the end here. So, because his head is so tilted forward, his mouth to his chin is like real small. So we could just do his mouth line very like tiny little bump like that. And then it's sort of like a real downturned lip there. So the more downturned, the more grumpy he looks. And then his chin down that way. And then it just comes across here. And then we can just see his cheek. There, and then some piercings sort of on his bottom lip, sort of this way. So his bottom lip would be there, and then there's like a spike and a spike. So very like extreme perspective. And then jaw that way. And up here. So remember, the jaw is kind of higher up than we normally draw a face because of his head tilt. So it's kind of like in line with the corner of his eye there. So then his sideburn for his hair is like coming down there. And then he has 3 hair spikes hanging down. One over that sideburn, one over his ear. And then I can put one there. So his sort of ear is just here, right? And this has lots of those piercings again on it. So piercings, right? So we got like some of the ear skin lines just there, and then the bar runs down it. And then there's like, we'll put these little boxes kind of coming out of the ear. They're usually black anyway. How many? 6. We'll do 6. And of course you'd erase the ear line inside there. And then like the back of his headband is there. And then we'll do the top of the headband. And And we meet another hair spike. Like so. And then the metal headband, sort of that round sort of corner just comes across and then goes up. And then we get the top of that. Top line like that. They don't put the metal studs, but I will. And then those 4 Rain Village markings. And then the scratch. Like so. Right, so the rest of his head like spikes all the way around. So it's going to go all the way up. Just checking every now and then, make sure I'm on track. Spiking around. They kind of always remind me of shark fins, especially in Naruto. They're all sort of this sort of style hair. There might be like a part in the middle of his head here. And he's got some coming down from behind his ear as well. So there's the headband and like, so we'll go here. We got his neck muscle there, maybe something there as well. So head tilted, leaning forward. So we go into this big Akatsuki collar now. Nice. Kind of goes sort of past the headband even on this side. So we'll go there. Because it spikes down then. And it's kind of like closed over, you know, so you have another connecting collar section, which starts to go down here. It kind of bumps and goes down that way because there's all folds on his clothes. And the other side of this goes around there. And we can just see the inside with what looks like a necklace around his neck. Bottom of the collar. I can here. And this is like, so his arm is outstretched here, right? So you got like a big shoulder, and the hand is fairly big out this way. And we got like edge lines, red on the Akatsuki collar, all the way down to the cloud and everything. But we got to draw the hand in first because it's sort of covering a lot of his chest and stomach parts. So we have one shoulder out here. And then like shoulder and like front of his body. And his arm just kind of like hangs down here. Very loose fitting cloak. Maybe we can see a bit of the cloud on this side. Righty. Hand. So his hand is like outstretched. He's like, you know, just coming out towards the viewer or the camera in this case. So you can see the wrist sort of bent over. Everything's foreshortened, and the wrist is kind of a similar shape to this. So we'll do that. So just a little step down, right? I'm going to just do his wrist bent sort of the same way as his shoulder. It's two sort of hills. It's foreshortened, so that means it's like it's coming into the foreground, so it looks shorter. Like if I put my hand out, it's real long, but as I lean towards the camera, it gets shorter and shorter and real stumpy looking then when it's like pointing right here. Sorry about blocking. I always feel I have to explain why things look stumpy technically. So his hand then comes this way. You get his thumb down here, right? And then all these fingers outstretched. So there's a ring around the thumb. We can do that. Just there. Right, and then the thumb itself. Curves out like so. And goes back into the hand. The top of the ring, I think, is sticking out a little bit here. So the thumb, your thumb joins the palm of your hand, so it bumps underneath, and then we hit his pinky actually down here. It's the most outstretched finger in the whole hand in this case. Okay. So the rest are kind of trickier. So the index is pointed right towards us, so it looks like it's like curling up. So is the middle finger, and the ring finger kind of comes out just on top of the pinky here as well. So we'll do this one first, maybe just. You probably should see a little bit of fingernail. Now these two curl up because they're coming towards us, so it's like it's crazy exaggerated now. You could see like top of his fingernail there. Okay, so very sort of bent up sort of sausage fingers. And then this one, so kind of like, it's like down, so you have like a knuckle or something. Where would it be? Maybe here. And the finger itself will curve, really exaggerated curve now. And then again, maybe a bit of the fingernail just visible there. So that's tricky. It's not easy to do stuff like this, because to a lot of people, I would like, that does not make any sense. But if you stand in the mirror, like, and look in the mirror and stretch your fingers out, you'll see what I mean. So forearm. And his cloak. loosely hanging down. And then just finish the cloak and cloud in there. And we're done. Pain. Hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Shout out to whoever designed this. It's cool. Especially the hand, like, it's cool the way they drew it. See you next one.